Hello, everyone.
Sorry.
Hello,
I said
hello,
hello.
is what everybody is saying.
Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. And
Hello, is what everybody is saying.
oh, I'm not sure if Sue Ellen spoke then or I was hearing a reverb or something. Well, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. And
Hello, is what everybody is saying.
oh, are you guys having any sound issues? Because I'm getting my voice back. Yeah, no, don't like that. Okay. Sarah, do you know what might be happening?
There's music.
You're muted. Is that better? I've just found a different mute button somewhere else. Is that better?
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, good. Okay.
My voice is matching my lips. Okay. All right. I suppose I should have the agenda in front of me. So let me just move the screen over. Hopefully everyone got a chance to peruse it or maybe look at the minutes. So here we go. And it's linked right there. Okay, so I'd like to approve the agenda for this Tuesday, October 15th, Parks, Trails, and Greenways Advisory Committee meeting. And
Claudia,
yeah.
I noticed that the agenda, at least the copy I had, the staff report that was attached to talk, it was supposed to talk about Collins Road, was talking about IDLC at the Cape. Did anyone else experience that?
Sue Ellen is nodding. Okay,
Was it
so
just me?
can we find that spot in the minutes and
It's in the agenda.
In the agenda, I'm talking.
The
Sorry, you
agenda.
just said you wanted to talk about the agenda, so I was just bringing it up.
You are
Before
right.
we approve the agenda,
Yes, let's make
check
that.
in that it's got the right
Right.
link.
Okay, so Sarah, are you able to make a note of that link needs to be updated? You're on mute right now, Sarah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm just changing it right now. I just re-uploaded there was a problem with the upload, I think.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure why, but yeah, I've just made a note to upload that as well. I just re-uploaded it, so it should all be there now, but yeah, we'll check.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other errors or such in the agenda that anyone noticed?
Just
Chuck?
one. I wonder if I missed it, but have we had an update on the signage and National Road? Like when the signage will be installed, or has it already been installed?
Sorry, Chuck, sorry to interrupt, but I'm not hearing you very well. And
An update about,
Can you hear me better now?
that is a bit better, yes.
Okay, I'll just get a little closer to the microphone. My question was, have we had an update on the signage around Grafton Lake? When that signage will be installed, or has it already been installed? I just wondered if Tyler could give us an update on that at some point in the meeting.
Should we? Yeah, we could. She will. That's great. Under.
I'll speak to that under my
Okay. Super. Jeremy, did I see your hand go up?
No, I was just scratching my eye.
Stop doing that. All right. Great. So apart from the noted link that is maybe already corrected, I would like to propose the recommendation that that the Parks, Trails, and Greenways Advisory Committee approve the agenda for the October 15th, 2024 meeting. Can I have someone move that? Jeremy, second, Sue Ellen, all in favor? Thank you, unanimous. Number 2, adoption of minutes. So they are from April 16th. And did anyone notice any errors or omissions or things that need clarifying? No? Okay. Can I have someone move that the minutes of the Parks, Trails, and Greenways Advisory Committee meeting held April 16th, 2024 be adopted? Lawrence, and seconded Chuck, all in favor? Great, thank you. On to item 3 of the agenda, public comments. I don't believe we have anyone here to speak. That's correct. Okay, so moving on to item 4, council referral. The official community plan amendment and rezoning application OCP RZ 2023-0297, and that's regarding 561 and 564 Collins Road. And Daniel is here to speak with us about that.
Thanks, Claudia. So I have just an overview presentation that I'll give on this referral and then open it up for any questions. Okay. So yeah, this is an application to rezone and amend the official community plan on Collins Road. There we go. All right. So it's located on Collins Road, just past Collins Farm. And it's a property that's about 3 hectares in size, which is about 7.5 acres, straddling Collins Road, as you see, sort of the one that's highlighted in blue. It is in our official community plan that includes designations for land use. It's designated R1 Rural 1, which has objectives and policies associated with it, and especially for this application, it designates an average parcel size of 2 hectares. And then for the zoning in our land use bylaw, it is split zoned. So the southern half of the property is zoned SR1A that carries a 1.2 hectare minimum lot size, and the north side is zoned RR2 zoning, which has a 2 hectare minimum and a 4 hectare lot size. So a lot of math and numbers, but the gist of it is that if the entire property was in that SR1A zone, which the southern half is, then the property could be subdivided into 2. But because the northern half is in a different zone, the property needs to be rezoned and have an OCP amendment in order for a subdivision to take place. So the applicant has applied to rezone the property to permit to be able to subdivide the property into 2 lots. So divided by Collins Road, 1 on each side of the road. And each lot could be 1.4 hectares in area, or at least 1.4. The southern one ends up being slightly larger. So the rezoning would place the entire property into this SR1A zone, which would permit the subdivision. And then of a special interest to this committee, and in large part why the referral was made, we have in Bowen, we have what's called a conservation development policy that seeks to protect land through, when people come for rezonings, we seek to protect land as well as part of the application. So the applicant proposed 2 contributions to be made through the application. One, they proposed a trail network contribution, being a future trail connection created inside the western boundary of the proposed Lot 2 to connect Collins Road to Crippen Park, as shown in that dashed red line on the map. And the second is they propose that the residential lots be placed under a covenant such that at least 50% of each site be protected from development. All right. And then, so today, earlier this morning, we did a site visit with some members of the committee, so Sue Ellen and Lawrence and Ben, who isn't with us tonight, but to walk the site. And one of the things that we noted on the site was just what we show in the dashed orange line is sort of an informal trail in Crippen that connects about halfway down the southern portion of the lot. So maybe a future trail connection. And then when we brought this to council, we gave council an option to not pursue the proposal, given the current OCP review that's underway, and council instead wanted to proceed with this application, feeling that it wasn't a significant change in the neighborhood. So the application was referred to the Advisory Planning Commission and the Parks, Trails, Greenways Advisory Committee for a recommendation. So that's why I'm here today. And so you'll see in the agenda, there's just a standard recommendation, but maybe I'll stop sharing at this point and open it up for any questions.
Penny.
I was just going to say, Daniel, I did find the bottom end of that trail this afternoon, and it's very, I didn't follow it up, but it looks like a very clear trail where it joins the main trail network. That trail that we looked at this morning.
Yeah, great.
Okay, I have Penny first, and then Carla, did you have your hand up? I know Sue Ellen does, and then Chuck. Carla, are you in the mix? Okay, Penny, thank you. Go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Claudia. So I know I've walked a trail from Crippen Park up to Collins Road, and I'm just wondering, and you see the orange, does it continue through that lot? Is that where the trail is? I'm seeing Sue Ellen, who knows that area well, nod her head. And is that the same path that they're proposing in their deal, in their application?
I mean, I think what they were proposing was a shorter connection. I think that wouldn't directly connect to where. So they were essentially looking on the map and saying, this is the shortest route to get to Crippen, is sort of through the eastern side of the property to connect to Crippen. And I think where we found that where the connection lines up with that informal trail is a little further south.
Do you think it's feasible where they proposed it?
Yeah, I mean, we didn't walk right along that edge directly. It would mean that like something would have to go across Crippen to connect to where that trail is.
Yeah, because if I recall, and I'm sorry I wasn't on the walkabout today, but it's like it is a little bit steep in there. Like there's some terrain. Okay, so I guess that would be my only question: is what they're proposing feasible?
I think the first sort of half of the property is pretty flat, right? Like where we walked through the property, connect that trail, it was largely flat, and then it does go down towards the end of the property. Yeah.
Okay, Sue Ellen.
Oh, thanks. I'll just say a few things about being a neighbor, just so everybody knows. I'm down at the bottom of the hill, and so is Ben. He's right next door. So we two were neighbors. He didn't know about the trail, but I did, and I'd walked around there because I'm friends with, just full disclosure, I'm friends with Marion, who's now 102 and doesn't have a lot to say these days, and Jean, who's died already, but I worked with them for 20 years, and they were conservation friends of mine. And so they gave me permission. So I've walked, and Theo, when he was a kid, our son, has gone up and down that trail many times that you're talking about, Penny. We walked around on that side first, as Daniel's described, and it looks like if a trail came down the edge towards the park, towards Killarney Lake, let's say, then it would be along the edge of the Stark property with the horse ring. Anyway, it would, it's all pretty flat up there, so that would work as well. It doesn't have to follow the current right down the middle of the property kind of way that it goes. That's just my impression, but it looks like there's good potential there. The trouble is having that's an unofficial trail for Metro Vancouver, right? So, you know, but lots of potential, and it actually looks better used than it did 20 years ago or 30 years ago. So more people are using it, and that I thought Ben was using it, and he's not. Anyway, sorry, that's enough about somebody who isn't here to talk, speak for himself.
Okay.
We walked on the other side, and we found the wetland, and we looked at the where the scarp begins to rise up towards Mount Collins, and I described how I have walked around back there, and you can you don't have to go straight up the cliff. If you come down on an angle, there are splits in the rock that you can come down sort of through the pass. Anyway, and other kinds of potential connections up to properties beyond, like if you're 50 years from now. So we looked at all this, sort of got the lay of the land, and I think both Ben and I were interested in having and we were supportive of the rezoning idea with lots of possibilities there. I hope that's okay. I just wanted to describe the walkabout a little bit for people who weren't there. Thank you.
Thank you. Chuck?
Thank you. So I've hiked and run that path from the main Crippen Park path to Collins Road. And the last part of it is kind of ambiguous. So you're not really sure if you're hiking through somebody's property or exactly what. But I think that if you were able to, if the trail was to be more developed, and then it would actually connect with that short section through that particular property to the road, then it would seem and feel more official, like you weren't trespassing. And it's a lovely trail as well. So if somebody wants to just do a loop, you know, Crippen Park, maybe Killarney Lake, but then finish off with a hike up that trail, and then the connector through that property to Collins Road, and then back down to where they parked or whatever, that would be lovely, I think, and it would really enhance somebody's hiking experience. So the other thought I had was, where are the people proposing to develop? Because I think it would be nice to not develop where they are proposing the trail to be, because a trail right adjacent to a home, a property, sort of takes away from that wilderness experience. So it would be nice if they didn't develop where they propose to have the trail. But otherwise, I would be in favor of the rezoning application.
Thank you, Chuck. Daniel, I guess at this point, there are no buildings on either side of Collins Road, or are there?
There's sort of a vacant, you know, I don't know if there's a cabin on the north side of Collins, like fairly close to Collins Road.
Okay.
And then I think it's probably fair to say, like, the applicants are essentially the children of the owner, and are looking to subdivide it so that they can sell one of the parcels and retain the other one in the family. So I don't think they don't have any plans per se to develop it, but their intent is to sell one of them, so that then presumably somebody would build a house on it.
Mm-hmm. Are there any bylaws to say how far a property can be built? Is it right up to the trail that they're allowing in this application, or are there's no setbacks? Not like setback from the sea.
Yeah, like if we had a trail right of way, setbacks don't apply to it the same way because it would be part of the same property. So, you know, in theory, people can develop up to the.
I'm sure they wouldn't want to. They're going to want their privacy and not have everyone go by. So then it would mean a connection is needed to connect to one of the existing Crippen trails from that little spur that would cross this property. Okay. Does anyone have anything? We've heard quite a lot of positives. Is anyone feeling uncomfortable with the idea, or? Oh, sorry, Penny, you got your little icon. Okay.
I know. I have one more point of clarification. I thought I read that at some point they proposed a covenant on 50% of each lot that that wouldn't be developed. Is that still standing?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's still standing, and some of that too relates to the fact that they don't have immediate sort of development plans and are looking to sell one. So we had discussed covenanting, you know, more specific areas, and they're hesitant because they don't yet actually have a plan of like, well, where does the driveway and the septic field and the house go? And so we're hesitant to like encumber it in a way that may cause restrictions. I mean, having said that, I think specifically it's like you'd look at the lots and say on the southern portion, it probably end up covenanting towards the south end. It starts to quite, more steeply go down to where it's almost immediately just north of Crippen Park, and that would be sort of a natural area that you would covenant. So you're sort of enhancing the protection around Crippen, and it's a more challenging place to build. And then on the north half, the environmental assessment identified a wetland area.
Right.
And it kind of makes, even when we did the site visit, it's like fairly wet and fairly like skunk cabbage and whatever else. So probably the natural development on that side is like a little bit closer to the road. And then it would lend itself towards covenants on the sort of northern half of the north side.
Yeah, so I would support it, but I think those covenants are important in benefit to the community if you're adding more density, to know that is also, there's limits to that by putting a covenant on the land.
Hmm. And how much negotiation can be done to I recognize the wetland, they're not going to want to build on that. So luckily that's kind of will naturally, and maybe the steep part, but is there a way to detail that, like have someone actually look at the environmental properties of each lot and help determine what is the best to conserve? Because a covenant for conservation is only worthwhile if it's conserving something
if it's got
of
preservation
quality.
yeah
Yeah.
that was going to be my question, was around preservation potential of the property and what would be the most value, and then wondered if that could also be taken into consideration in the designation of the trail, such that you'd have a protection corridor around the trail in addition to whatever trail buffer you might have. I don't know how much flexibility there would be for that. It sounds complicated to figure out, but maybe if the property is held by someone who's interested in trying to do that, that would be a huge benefit, I think.
Just to follow up on Phil's there, that I guess it would be on Crippen and Metro Van to make that connection, because right now the designated trail does not continue. Is that right? Because they want to make it a shorter amount in a different spot on the southern lot. So then we're left with a gap between the existing trails and that one, and we'd have to get Metro Van to make them connect, because we don't have jurisdiction there. Is that correct, Daniel?
That's correct. I mean, I don't know what role Metro had in the existing informal trail, but it would definitely be like the municipality couldn't then, construct a trail on Crippen to connect it.
I think the trail that's existing there is ad hoc, not designated, because it's not signed, and Crippen signs are, the regional park is pretty, I think, careful about signage in their network. And my recollection of that trail is it's a good trail, as Chuck pointed out, but it's not a formal trail.
Organically grown.
It's organic, yeah.
And Jeremy.
Yeah, so just following up on that, presumably Metro Parks has to buy into the idea of the connecting trail as well, in order to make it viable. I guess all we can do is conceptually accept or the concept on the part of the private properties, and leave it up to them. But of course, if a trail is built there, then people will tend to create their own organic connection to Crippen. Maybe they don't particularly care. I don't know.
Right. And
I'm
it
just wondering,
doesn't have to necessarily happen right away that Crippen would help develop that. And I think you're right. I don't think they're looking to build trails in that area, but it probably would happen organically. But it could be, we're doing it for 20 years from now, that we have that easement that would allow a trail connection.
yeah, I just wondered if the propriety would would suggest that we consult them, ask them about that as a future potential.
Okay, Sue Ellen.
Thanks. Yeah. One of the things I just wanted to mention is over time, I mean, that's what Metro Vancouver would call an unofficial trail. They've got lots of them that come into the park, so they designate them as unofficial and they don't do anything with them until they have the budget or it aligns with their other plans or they have a need for it. For example, the one that's down here behind the Little Red Church, that trailhead up until about 15 years ago was an unofficial trail, and now it's official. So those things can happen, and it wasn't a negotiation as far as I know from anything from the municipal side. The second thing I wanted to mention that I didn't mention today during the walkabout for Daniel is that the house on the, as we went into this southern one on the left-hand side of the road, the one that's in the covenanted, has a conservation covenant over the whole property for forests. And it has a building footprint that's described in the covenant. That was also belonged to a Collins sister who put that on. So it's the same family. So that may be something that they're quite open to in terms of, that was Marion's sister, Betty McIntyre, who put that on before she put it in. Thank you.
All right, we should probably move on. So I'd like to, unless anyone has any pressing questions or additions to the discussion, perhaps we could vote on the recommendation. So the recommendation is either to support or not support that the Parks, Trails, and Greenways Advisory Committee support, do not support official community plan amendment and rezoning application with OCP RZ 20230297 for 561 and 564 Collins Road, and provide the following comments. So we can vote and then we can add comments, or if you want to discuss what comments before we vote, we can do that. It sounds like there is interest from this group that they consider the best quality habitats, or even, I mean, ideally it would be great to see, you know, a short, brief survey to, you know, there could be rare species. We don't really know if no one goes and looks, but anyway, that's probably more than we can hope right now. So, Sue Ellen.
There is an environmental survey, a report from Michele Florendo. If you click the link that says RC excerpt re Collins Road referral and scroll down, there is an environmental report there.
Okay, great. Thank you. Can I have someone who would like to propose either support or do not support? And then we'll have a nomination for that, and then a seconder. Can't see everyone. I can change my screen. Hold on.
You want me to take that off? It doesn't have to be there.
No, it's okay. It's good. Thanks. I saw a hand going up and then I didn't see who it was.
I was just going to propose that we accept the
Support it. Okay. And a seconder to that. Lawrence, thank you. All in favor? Looks unanimous. Thank you. And what comments would we like council to hear with regards to this? Phil, I saw your hand.
I was just adding my vote to
Okay.
the original one.
Okay.
I think it
Lawrence?
would be, yeah, I guess I was going to say it would be good if there could be some consideration given to habitat of value in planning and designating the protected areas
Yes.
and trying to align those with the trail, with the designation of the trail as well. If both of those things could be taken into consideration. I think that's
Mm-hmm.
the gist of what we were thinking.
Yeah, that sounds good. Lawrence?
I was just going to say, wonder whether we should be encouraging them to have the trail communicate with the existing trail.
Daniel, you've probably spoken to them quite a bit. What's their feeling about that?
I don't know actually, so I think it's worth if that's your recommendation that that it should go to
Oh,
connect with the existing trail, and then if they're opposed, then I guess it'd be ultimately up to council to decide. But if that that seems like a worthwhile recommendation to make from
absolutely.
the trail committee.
Yeah.
And maybe saying in Crippen Park, the existing trail
Going with the existing
yeah, that's it.
not unauthorized. What was the term you used, Sue Ellen, for
Unofficial.
Informal. Yeah.
unofficial trail in Crippen? Because that would help a lot.
That would be ideal.
Yeah, good point.
The other alternative would be to just connect from one unofficial trail and then make another trail to connect with the trail that goes through that property. Because
that's what
it
we
wouldn't be
would
too
have to
difficult.
do. Sorry?
It wouldn't be too difficult to do. It's
No,
like
however, we don't want to, it's already quite a network of trails in there because of, and some of them are quite wide because there's been a lot of trampling in there. So I think if we can limit new trail building, it would be preferable, and it's already done and ready to be used, rather than waiting till either enough people have trampled the plants or Metro does something which isn't likely. So
I think Carla has her hand up.
Carla, you're muted. There you are.
Thanks. I was just going to mention that probably part of the reason that the trail is unofficial is because it leads directly into private property. So if there was a right of way in place, perhaps Metro Vancouver would be a little bit more inclined to make it more official and add it to their maps. But I know that they are not keen on developing new trails. Just as Claudia said, like the connection to the existing trail would be better, and more likely to be supported by Metro Vancouver, I think.
Okay, well, let's also look at the wording of that. I think we want to be clear that that might even be, well, number one priority, that if they're going to allow us a trail because they want to have this application go through, then it should be a trail that actually joins to an existing trail. And then again, if that like, we can at least be firm, and then it's up to council to decide if they say no, what the fallout is. So if everyone is in favor of looking at the wording there and making it clear, yeah, that the trail should connect, with the existing unofficial trail in Crippen Park. Yeah, great. And then that consideration be given to habitat of value in planning and habitat values. Can we change it to that?
Yeah, I was going to suggest maybe value of habitat or habitat values.
You can also say ecological quality, and we add and ecological quality. Thank you.
Sorry, did you say quality? You did.
Yeah, thank you. In planning and designating the protected areas, should we say covenant areas. To be clear, we're talking about the covenants. In, instead of in planning and designating, in assigning the covenant areas.
So instead of planning and designating?
I think so. There's probably, Daniel, you got a better word than assigning, but, or whatever you think would be clearest. Designating,
Yeah,
planning, maybe not planning, but just designating.
sure.
So quality in designating.
The covenant, no apostrophe S.
Oh, yeah.
The covenant areas. And I would take out the, if everyone agrees, and trying to align them with the trail. Let's see. Sorry, Sarah, don't take it out yet. Then covers which would preferably align with the trail, but we don't know that that is the best habitat of good ecological quality. So do we really want to say that, or are we, I think that's then restricting or putting the covenant in what could be a better place, because we just wanting to have it by the trail. And yes, that's a nicer user experience, but the covenant is about conservation and not having so much human occurrence. So any thoughts on that? Jeremy and then Sue Ellen?
First off, in relation to the second point, it seems to me a bit extraneous. If you're dealing with the covenant areas, you should keep that separate maybe from the trail alignment issue. But I do have a question about the first point. The trail should connect with the existing unofficial trail in Crippen Park, but there is actually not currently a way for it to connect. And so that seems to me a bit awkward. Maybe that the trail should be in such a position as, no, this is awkward.
Trail corridor.
To allow a future connection to the unofficial trail in Crippen Park. Because it makes it sound as if the unofficial trail would automatically connect to whatever they put in, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
And those who have, Sue Ellen, you've walked it, that trail doesn't come all the way, like sort of halfway through their property. I thought that there was an existing walkable trail, and
There is an existing walkable trail. We walked half of it today. And that's if you were going along Collins Road and you turned left into the southern property that we're talking about. And there's an existing trail, goes partway through this lot and then partway through Crippen Park.
So it is connected right now.
So it is connected.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Ideally, we'd want to maintain the existing trail corridor.
I think it would, as it crosses their property, it probably wouldn't be the same route, because right now it kind of goes from one corner of the property across, to where it joins, and so I would see them having trouble with that.
What if it were to snake along the edge, but just be longer so that it lines up more easily with the existing Crippen trail?
Yeah. So maybe it's just that the proposed trail should connect with the existing unofficial trail corridor. Does that make sense?
That's great.
Should connect to.
Yeah. Excellent, thank you. And
I'm just wondering if anybody agrees with my thought that on the second point, the trail alignment is a bit, it doesn't need to be there when it's sort of addressed in the first point.
I agree with that, because I think then you're just putting a restriction on choosing the best habitat. for conservation. Because it is
Yeah,
that
I
okay?
I can buy that as well. Yeah,
That
I
out?
think, yeah, I think
So-
if it was well aligned with good habitat, that would be great. That'd be a win, a double win. But I'm willing to accept that you may have to settle for just a trail corridor.
Yeah. Okay. So Sarah, Sue Ellen.
Yeah, thank you. I think Carla's got her hand up too. Carla, did you want to go?
Sorry, I didn't see Carla's hand.
Sure. I'm sorry I didn't mention this a little bit earlier, but I just wanted to talk about how on the walkabout today, we went onto the north side of the property as well. And I feel like I have to mention this because of Ben was really kind of excited about a potential future trail connection on the north side of the property. And so, maybe those who were there can give their 2 cents about this as well. But that right now provide a connection to Crown land, but if we had a right of way that went along that property and up to the next property, there's only one more property to cross in order to get to the Crown land there. And that's Crown land we don't have a public access to. So I think that it might be a good idea to also have a little point in here about considering
Well, let's ask for it blatantly.
or
Because, again, that is our job, is to blatantly ask for what we think is best, within reason. But
That's what I was going to say, Claudia, is the first bullet refers to the southern lot. What is that? 561. And the third bullet here could be that a proposed trail connection to through, I guess, is it the northern one? Anyway, 564 to the right-hand side of the trail, through the upper lot, whatever you want to call it.
Sorry, Sue Ellen, can I just interrupt for 1 sec? Because maybe this should just be part of point 1, that the trail amenity should continue south to the existing unofficial trail and through the north lot to the Crown land. It's just one
Sure.
trail.
I don't mind how it's done. It's just a sort of separate. I'm just adding a new point here, and it could be connection towards the Crown land, because like Carla said, there's one lot in between. But 50 years from now, and I think the second, that would be great.
And just wait, hang on. So the proposed trail amenity should continue through the existing unofficial trail corridor in Crippen Park and also the northern section?
Maybe I'll try something. That the proposed trail amenity should start at the unofficial trail. I wouldn't put corridor, but the existing unofficial trail in Crippen Park and continue north through the northern lot towards Crown land that is currently inaccessible. I mean, we do have to explain to council what we're talking about here, that there is this connection that could be viable in the future because there's only one lot between them. Jeremy?
I'm just wondering if it might be clearer if it is as a third or maybe a second point, a separate point, put it that way, from the southern portion of the property, because their focus of their proposal has been on the southern property. So we're adding a whole new concept there as a requirement. If you try and blend them, it seems to me it might get a bit confusing.
But they are saying that the 50% applies to both lots, and I mean
but their proposal for the trail is exclusive to the southern portion.
It's only what they decided they were willing to offer, and it's our job as the municipality and on, I think, on behalf. I'm sorry if coming off.
No, I
to a
totally,
pub,
totally
but like
agree.
on behalf of the people of Bowen Island, well, they want to break the OCP, so they're asking for us to go against our official community plan.
I totally agree with that. My point is simply to make it clear in explaining that this is something that we have. If it's a separate point, it looks more like something that we have added in addition to what they have proposed. But I totally agree. I think it's an excellent idea, Ben's idea.
I think that's easy to do just by breaking it after Crippen Park and just say and also to continue the trail amenity through the northern lot towards Kalana. I think that's all you have to do is break that bullet at
Into two?
Crippen. Yeah,
Certainly makes it clear.
I think it does make it clear.
From,
Yeah.
instead of through, can we say from the existing unofficial trail? Should that the proposed trail amenity should begin at the existing unofficial trail in Crippen Park where it meets the edge of the southern lot. Is that okay? But I want to get to Carla and then Sue Ellen because they have points to make and that might affect what we're writing here. So Carla, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think it could be really simple. I think we could just say that the proposed trail should connect to the unofficial trail in Crippen Park and allow for a potential future trail connection to Crown Land. Because we're asking for one trail that connects and then we're asking for a potential future connection. So they're kind of two different things, even though they would be.
I agree. Through the northern lot, shouldn't they say that too?
I think that's, I mean.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sarah.
I think that works.
Yeah. Because I'm going to do a lot of deleting now.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good.
And that goes. And we don't need that.
And then, and the second point, the last part we can delete. And trying to align them, take that part out. That'd be great. Thank you. And Carla, did you have any other points?
No, just had.
Okay. Sue Ellen, then please.
Sure. One thing the committee might consider is that your audience for these recommendations is staff. So it's Carla and Daniel who are in the meeting here mostly, as well as council. And so just in terms of the amount of clarity that's required. And secondly, speaking to the amount of clarity, when you say the covenant areas, can I suggest putting the word conservation covenant?
Yes,
conservation in front, because a covenant can be anything. Can it be an agreement to, put a road through or something?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so thank you.
Sue Ellen, though, most of council's not here. So, and they will look at these notes, right? So they might not be. Yeah.
Sure. I just meant we're not trying to communicate to the proponents.
No, I'm just thinking of council.
That's all.
Yeah. Why we decided that these were the things we wanted to bring up. Okay, super.
I have one more.
Okay.
And that is when we say conservation covenant areas, could it also be the park or conservation covenant areas? I mean, we want, or the protected covenant areas, something, because
what are you worried that will not be clear about conservation covenant?
Well, I'm not sure that conservation covenants are the highest protection. I think that park is a higher level of protection, and I just didn't want to be specific that we were going for the lower level of protection.
Well, then don't we have to ask as this committee that we want to explore, that staff to explore a stronger conservation, what's the word, attribute for this land rather than conservation covenant. And then if it has to be a conservation covenant. Okay, I'm giving you bad words, Sarah, sorry. Stronger, explore other designations in addition to conservation covenant that may protect valuable habitat to a greater degree. I don't.
And Sue Ellen, you're thinking about like park designation?
Well, possibly a park dedication, or maybe they can arrange to donate it to Crippen Regional Park, which is right next door, maybe a portion, or Islands Trust Conservancy holds the conservation covenant beside it, maybe together. I don't know. I just
Yeah.
didn't want to restrict it to conservation
Yeah.
covenant. I thought maybe there were alternatives that staff
Sure.
could explore to protect the land.
Sure. Sue Ellen, would it work if it went explore other designations and then comma, such as park dedication, comma,
Yes.
and then you give some, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. That's great.
Yeah, and you can take out, Sarah, then in addition to conservation covenant. Thank you. Okay, well, I think we've beaten that horse. Unless there's anything else someone wants to add to our points. Okay, then I think Jeremy, did you put forth the recommendation?
Yeah.
Okay, and do we have a seconder yet?
Yeah, it was Lawrence.
Okay, thank you, Lawrence. Okay, all in favor? Thank you. That looks like everyone. Thanks, Sarah. Thank you, Daniel.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Have a good night.
You too. Bye.
Okay, so we are now on item number 5, business arising from minutes, and Carla's going to talk to us about beach access with a few different places. So Carla, when you're ready, take it away.
Thanks, Claudia. But I was actually hoping that someone else might want to speak to this, because I don't want to have another Carla show with the Parks and Trails Committee. I got lots to talk about later. So maybe Lawrence was on the walkabout, or Claudia, or Sue Ellen, anyone? Or Chuck, did you come? Yeah. Anybody want to speak to these? I will share my screen. I have a presentation just with some photos.
Okay, why don't we do that first? And then I was at the Hummingbird Lane one, but not the Kates Bay Beach. So yeah, we'll look at your presentation and then pick one to talk about. Someone who was there can try and remember what they saw. Seems like a while ago now.
Sure. I'll go ahead and I'll share my screen. I'll speak to it a little bit and then hand it over to whoever.
Okay, thank you.
So this isn't a comprehensive presentation here. It's just a couple of photos labeled. We started at Hummingbird right of way. So this is just a right of way between two properties on Hummingbird Lane. It's quite a bit closer to the cove than September Morn Beach is quite a ways further. You see here, this is the side of the road. So my car's parked up here. I think the right of way starts somewhere where this tree is and comes to around back here. I can't remember how wide it is, but then this is the view going down the right of way here. The property owner on this side. Oh, that might be a marker there, but then when you get a little further down, their fence is right along the edge of the right of way, and then this neighbor's fence is along the edge of the right of way as well. You know, I will say when you're going from the road too, it's quite a steep spot right from the road, but that doesn't last for long. The whole right of way overall is quite steep, but doable as a like as a trail. You could just walk along a trail without probably installing stairs if you just had it kind of meander a little bit. But this is what it looks like now. And then this is the view looking back up the right of way. And then when you come towards the end, you have a really nice little bench here with a view of the ocean. This is the view looking down from that bench. So there's quite a bit of vegetation. We didn't go all the way to the water. I'm not sure that an access right to the water would be possible. It seems this is a really nice spot, but I don't really know that the scramble through all this vegetation would be worthwhile, especially given that September Morn is not too far down the road and is quite a large beach area. It would probably be a similar kind of access to September Morn, so like a long, steep trail.
Are those the last of the photos from that access point?
That's the last of the photos from that one.
Can we actually just do it in bits
Sure.
and pieces then, if that's okay? So
yeah, I can. Do you want me to leave this open for now while you're speaking, or do you want me to
just for a few minutes anyway. And I wasn't the only one there, but I'll just say that yeah, I thought it has great potential for and when Carla says bench, she means like, you know, geographically speaking, terrain bench. But having a real bench on the bench as a spot for people to look out at the ocean and look for whales and such, I think is a great idea, even if the money isn't there right now in the municipality to develop it. But it would be a nice spot for people for sure to go and access the ocean. Who else was there who'd like to speak to it, or people who weren't there who have questions? Nobody. Sue Ellen?
Just that's how I remember it too, Claudia, is you know, nothing special on the steepness and coming down off the road and kind of between the two fairly newly developing properties. But then you get to the spot that's in the photos here, and it's a fabulous view. And I think it's really worthwhile. We might, I don't know, Carla, whether we need a recommendation tonight, but just that it's got this good potential as a potential spot for your possible bench list. There would be some trail work needed as well, but maybe some potential donor might like that. That's all I was thinking of. Thank you.
Anyone else? Lawrence?
I would agree with that. The trail right now is tricky, but it wouldn't take very much to make that into a easily accessible area. And I think, as you said, the actual access to the water would be very challenging.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Yeah,
It'll be much more expensive to deal with that. Yeah.
Yeah. And the infrastructure would be, yeah, subject to erosion and all of that. Penny, did I see your hand?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to say that that would be a great place. There's lots of whale activity, or there tends to be lots of whale activity out there, and land-based whale watching should be highly encouraged.
Yes. Jeremy?
Do we have a map with a view of exactly where this is?
Probably not.
not handy, but I could probably show you. I could probably find it pretty quickly.
Oh yeah, on the Muni mapping site.
Or just like on Map.
Google. There we go. There's a map.
I have it open at all times, so. It's this one right here.
Ah, right, okay, thanks.
Yeah, and then this, so it's between kind of Dorman Point and September and Mortis over here. So it does give a different perspective there when you're
Why-
looking.
Sorry, Carla, why are the lots on either side pink?
There's absolutely no reason that they are pink and not gray or green. I have no idea. It's part of the base map, and the base map is an open source map that people kind of add and change all the time. So we don't actually control that part of the map. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's just a little odd.
All right. So, is there a way to, should we recommend to staff, namely Carla, that to consider in future budgets to look into making this more accessible to people? Would that be something?
So, I mean, for me personally, like, I think that what I should probably do is just kind of take one of those. We had some Parks and Trails Committee before had gone through all of the beach accesses at certain points. Like the last one was, quite a couple of years ago, anyways. And so I do have copies of those. Sue Ellen has sent them to me, and I think that I could update those that
Prioritize. Yeah.
and prioritize based on that, and just kind of keep a log. Like for me right now, I wouldn't want to make this one a priority, only because when I think about where to put benches, I'm thinking about accessibility more than anything else. And I don't think this is really, with the steep trail, accessible enough
Yeah.
to make it a really, it's not a great location for anyone who has mobility issues to get down there. But I do really like it, and I think it has a lot of value.
Mhm.
So it's up there.
Okay. Yeah, it's already on your radar, so
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
think
so I don't think there's a recommendation required, but it's just nice that we've looked at it and that we know it exists. So maybe if we're budgeting, like, for a coming year where we don't have a lot of beach access repairs to do, and we think we can develop another one, like maybe this will make it a little bit higher up on the list.
Okay, great. Let's move on to the next one, please, Carla.
Okay. So Grafton Bay, we have this listed as a coastal viewpoint on our in the parks plan and on our maps, because you can drive right up to this spot, and it's just a road end, but you're really like at the top of a cliff right at the ocean, and it's not necessarily an amazing viewpoint currently. I can't remember exactly where it is, but I think it starts about there and then ends about here. So if you wanted to look straight out at the ocean, you might have to take out some trees, or you probably could like get a bit of a bench or something over here and kind of look across at the coast. Yeah, kind of this would be more of the viewpoint here. So yeah, I think this area is kind of clear, but if you were back here, like we were probably parked around there, but if you were back, like you'd have to take out quite a few trees, which I don't know if that would be a desirable thing. The thing that's nice about this spot is that it's accessible and there's parking, and it's somewhere you could get out of your at the ocean, which is what was the big priority in the parks plan.
Accessible ocean viewpoints. Yeah, it is great. I mean, I could see, the photo on the left. I was there that day. I can't remember who else was, but that if there were a few little the small trees thinned a bit, and then a bench there, it would be lovely. Yeah. I guess we'd have to consider the parking spaces a little bit. Sorry, Sue Ellen, I jumped ahead of you. You have your hand up. Go ahead.
Just two things. One, I think it's Galbraith Bay. I'm not sure
What
if that's
about
right, but we had this on, we had a BIM Bowen council meeting today, And this was the property just to the left was 6.1 on the agenda. We issued a development variance permit for 1600 Barton Road, which is part of the same, it's right beside this right of way. So I wanted to bring that to Carla's attention. Part of
It's so the road on the right side of the that's it there. Yeah, you think your cursor is
oh, it
closer.
is Grafton Bay. Oh,
Yeah. Galbraith is Mount Gardner.
okay, thank you. And but anyway, just letting you know that property, kind of the one that's in darker green at the top there, just off the end of the road. Yes, that one, we issued a development variance permit so they can put another small building in there. It's a little cluster family, multi-generational kind of estates, very cliffy. And part of the reasoning that council made the decisions they did was because of protecting the environment in the area. So if we're bringing forward a proposal to cut trees for view, you might want to have a look at that on the video, Carla, just because it was so recent, as in today. Okay, thank you.
To that point, how is it, what's the variance that is allowing protection of the environment on that property that's looking for a variance?
The discussion that was around today wasn't specifically to the right of way. It was a little bit to the left of the photo on the left. And
the lot, yeah, the lot there that
yeah.
Actually,
it was
back to the map, please, Carla. So yeah, the one on the left. So they're asking for variance to add a small building.
No, they're asking for variance to add a building that is permitted, but the variance was involving having it a little bit closer to the sea and
so
into the
setback from the sea variance.
Yeah, and the deck a little closer. And it's complicated, but what you can't tell from the map like this, and this is why council went on a site visit, was because it's so steep. It's a cliff. And
Right.
So the shore, the foreshore isn't even visible from the building site, and there's another sort of terrace below it, and this kind of thing. But part of what council was concerned about today was protecting the foreshore and the environment and the view from the sea so that people didn't see houses and stuff. So anyway, just flagging with you that council had these things in mind when they made this decision today. And so if there were proposals to improve or make changes to this viewpoint with that involved cutting trees or changing the vegetation, that I was just suggesting that Carla might want to have a look at the video discussion from today, so that council's thinking today could be taken into account. That's all.
Okay.
I've just got to close the door. I've got a clattering happening. Excuse me.
Okay. All right, thank you, Carla. Anyone have any further comments on this spot, or shall we move to the next? I think we'll move to the next.
Well, I mean, I think that was it for the walkabout anyways. I think personally what I want to do with the Grafton Bay coastal viewpoint is to make this a priority spot for our bench. Because I think that was kind of why we decided to do the walkabout, was to identify places that would be good for, because we have our commemorative bench policy now, so that can be kind of streamlined through staff, so we don't have to go to Parks and Trails and to council doing a collaborative projects agreement. So It would be great if the Parks and Trails Committee had some spots that we identify as priorities for benches, so that when someone comes and asks to install one, we have spots in mind. So I thought this would be a good one.
Agree. Anyone else agree or disagree?
I agree.
Chuck agrees. Lawrence? Yeah, Lawrence, you're on mute though.
Agree.
Thank you. Sue Ellen, is that agree or?
It's just, well, I already said it. Flagging it with Carla, maybe not put it on the list right away.
Okay.
Maybe not what? Put the bench on the right of way?
Maybe not put the bench on this bench on the list right away. Because as your council liaison, I'm trying to communicate that council was concerned about the protection of the environment here. And all the families were there and the neighbors were writing letters of support for a new building. And, you know, people are involved and they're thinking about the site, and council's interest from the vote today was in protecting the environment there. So it would need to be careful. And there's a timing issue about talking about cutting trees and putting a bench there just after council made the same, a decision about this same little cluster of houses today, on the same day.
Okay.
So that's all. That's why I wanted to flag it with staff.
Okay.
Thank you, Sue. Point taken. I think I was thinking about making it a priority because we could potentially do it without removing any trees, or possibly just doing a bit of limbing, which, you know, we could still maintain the environmental benefits of those trees, you know, having their roots down and reducing any chance of erosion there. So anyways, there's possibilities, but yes, point taken. And we'll see when we get another commemorative bench requests, because sometimes, you know, as we know, sometimes they come in 3 times a year, and sometimes they don't come in for another 5 years. So
Okay, thank you. So I guess we can move on to Kate's Bay now, Carla.
yes. Okay, so this one is well, I don't know why I stopped sharing. Sorry. I have something to share. I just wanted to, so we budgeted for repairs to Kate's Bay Beach in 2023, and we didn't get that work done because we had a problem with the budget where a different project had run over into that year. And then, so we didn't end up budgeting for it in 2024 because, anyways, you don't really need to know about that. But the point is we didn't get it done. And now we're realizing we probably have enough budget to do it this year. I mean, it stood up okay, but it definitely needs to get fixed. And so I just wanted to kind of show you what the situation was here and let you know what I was maybe going to plan on doing, and if you just had any feedback. And I mean, this is at this point just operational, so I'm just kind of looking for your comments and if you're in agreement or if you have any better ideas. But that's oh, what's that? What is that? Sorry, I'm not sure what's going on with that thing. Okay, I don't know what that was. This is one part of the stairs here. And then the top part of the stairs, you can see some of it's a little bit new because we did do some repairs in 2022 just to make it usable for the time being. But you can see it's quite rotted out here. And the whole staircase needs replacing. And then down at the bottom, so they replaced one stair here. It's quite kind of embedded into the bank. So what I'm thinking of doing is doing a landing here, and then a landing possibly at the bottom, and then kind of raising that staircase up so it doesn't rot so fast again. So it's a little bit above the ground, and then I think that will allow for better drainage as well. At this point here, this is quite a drop, And so someone has thrown this on here, which is probably pretty slippery when it gets wet. So I'd like to get rid of that. But I'm considering at this point just throwing in one of those concrete steps, like a pre-made set of like four to six steps right at the bottom here, because as you can see, these like giant pieces of wood are coming in. A lot of these are quite old. I'm sure they've been there for quite a long time, but I don't think that it's possible to get this staircase to go low enough where we're not getting into like past the high tide line and where it's not going to get completely destroyed by winter storms. So we would do probably just 4 steps here and then do a landing across just to meet up with this, and then come into these wood staircases that could get anchored into the concrete so that they would have a nice spot to be anchored. And I feel like I want to run it by you guys, because I know that hardening shorelines is not what we're about and not what we want to do. But I feel like in this case, it's kind of what the options is. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm open to comments or ideas, but let me know what you think.
I wish DG were here. And Phil might have, but it would be nice to Carla to talk to DG, because she does the green shores, and you know, she might see that this is the only thing that can happen, but she also might know more alternatives than
What's the bank behind it in terms of composition? Is it soft or rock?
Soft, I think. Yeah, it must be. It's really dense vegetation.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's soil. Yeah.
So, okay, so I would say that, you know, it wouldn't hurt to put a set of cut stone stairs or some kind of stone stairs in there that don't take up too much space on the beach. I think the things that you'd be concerned about are, you know, interrupting some sediment supply from the slope behind, interrupting sediment movement along that beach. Doesn't look like there's much there now anyway, because it's clogged up with woody debris. So replacing some of that woody debris with stones to make a step down onto the beach is not going to create a major, you know, impact to the beach itself. So, but I would say, you know, steer away from things like concrete steps or things that are more permanent, and use, you know, natural stone, and it'll be, you know, just as good a feature.
So when you say natural stone, Phil, like what are you picturing? Like how big are this? You're building the stones up to make stairs, or?
I think so, yeah. I mean, you'd have to, you know, source some stone that is the right shape and size and suitable to place, so that you have relatively flat surfaces, or get them cut so that they have flattish surfaces on them that aren't too jagged or rough and angular, so they can be placed in a step pattern. How big is the drop? It's hard to tell from the photo, Carla, between the actual beach surface and where that platform is. That like 3 feet, 4 feet, a meter?
I was just there a week ago, and yeah, I would say 3 or 4.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
think it's
several
3
steps
feet
down.
off here, but then like from back here, like it feels more like 5 at certain point. You know what I mean? Like from the bottom stair to actual ground here.
Yeah, 5. Oh,
It's just, I mean, it's a
Quite
little
good.
bit of an angle, you know, like the bank continues a little bit here too, but then by the time you get down.
well, for those maybe not everyone on the committee tonight knows that DG, that's her job. She works for Green Shores to come up with better solutions than you know, and as you said, Carla, you know, like, yeah, the hardening of the shoreline.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would just touch base with her by email or something and also see what she says. And
Yeah.
I like Phil's idea of more natural stones than a concrete block, but that's partly aesthetics, but also, yeah.
Well, I think what I was thinking was of precast concrete steps, kind of similar to like we have them at Alder Cove. And I know that's what you were saying to go against, veer away from. But the reason I was going to go with that is because they're done and we can just plop them down with a barge. And then the other thing is that we've done stone steps. We did them at Mount Gardner Dock, where we had that whole stairway had washed away as well. And the high tide like comes right to the bottom of those steps. So what we did was we took really large rocks and built a stairway with it. But we've had quite a few comments on the lack of accessibility with that stairway. So
concrete poured concrete will scour as well. So you may have to place some stone around the concrete to protect from scour, so that you don't end up getting the poured concrete starting to tilt and collapse. So that just needs, it may need some thought around scour protection
yeah,
to prevent toe scour.
yeah. And you bring up a good point about talking to DG as well, because I'm on the Green Shores Local Government Working Group, and I can totally bring this to them. I don't know.
Yeah, do like go where
Right
the
today.
expertise is.
Yeah,
Mm.
for sure. Okay, that's it.
Thank you. All right, and let's see. Oops, is that oh no, we're gonna talk to you again. Okay, so thank you, Carla. So 6 is new business. Is there any new business? No. Okay, 7 updates. Carla.
Yeah,
Can you
here we
give
go
us-
again. I told you it was just going to be me talking this whole
better than me.
Okay, so I will share my screen a couple of times just to show you some photos. But first I'll tell you about, okay, so European green crab. We did sampling for European green crab again this season. We wrapped that up last month and didn't find any European green crab, so that's good news. We still are just doing the one spot in Mannion Bay. That's pretty much the only good habitat that we have for that highly destructive invasive species. So that's also a good thing, I guess. For invasive species, on yellow flag iris, we've done some more treatment of yellow flag iris in Grafton Lake. We're really trying hard to prevent the spread of yellow flag iris into the lake because it could really harm the ecology of the lake and affect our drinking water. So we've been working on that. And then I've also got this. So the way that we do that is with a benthic barrier. So we put this matting out that it actually makes the plant kill itself by when it produces when it off gases from respiring, it takes those gases back into the plant and kills the plant. So I've tried it. I have an experimental plot out here on Taylor Road that we have a problem with Japanese butter burr as well. And so this is an experiment over here. It hasn't worked so far, but I thought I would just let you know. We did check it, sorry, a little while ago, and it didn't seem like it had killed the roots yet, but we're seeing hypothetically it should work. So we're seeing if that works. So if you see it out there, that's what that is. Japanese butter burr, for anyone who doesn't know, is I don't know, a kind of a new up and coming invasive species that is you've probably noticed it outside of the dog ranch. It's that really big giant plant with the big
like a palmetto kind of looking thing. Anyway, doesn't matter. Okay.
Yeah, you'll notice it. I know places now. We only have a couple of spots, but it's one that's really concerning for a lot of invasive species groups because it can invade stream areas and it can grow in really wet areas, which is why I thought it would maybe, you know, the benthic barrier might work there because it works for the yellow flag iris, which is also a plant that can grow in wet areas. So anyways, just an idea. So and then for Grafton Lake, the other update about Grafton Lake was for the dog leashing signs, which I think Chuck wanted an update on. So we put up the dog on leash signs. So they were really simple. They just said dogs must be on a leash around Grafton Lake. It took us a little while to do that. I was trying to get the infographic done, but realized that that was taking a lot of my time. So we just went ahead and with the dogs must be on a leash signs, thinking, okay, at least something is up here, and that's done. Since then, I finished the infographic. We've shared that online and done a lot of communications around the dog leashing on Grafton. And but we haven't put up the infographic yet, and it has been ordered, and we can do that any day. But we do have to get some anti-vandal kind of installation screws or whatever. The other signs, all of them were stolen. So the ones that we put up. So we haven't ordered them again. I actually just, when we were doing the yellow flag iris treatments, that's when I realized they had been stolen. So I don't know when they were stolen, but they were put up quite a few months ago. So potentially
Around Grafton.
around
Yeah.
Grafton. Yeah. So potentially right after we put them up. I thought I had seen them there for a while, but they're all gone.
Mm.
So again, we'll have to get some anti-vandal bolts or whatever those are. Okay, otherwise I've just been really busy with capital projects. So got quite a few on the go. We finished installing a culvert at Buchanan Park recently that had been washed out. We did some clearing out of debris in the stream there as well, just to make sure that the stream was flowing properly after we had those really crazy atmospheric rivers in 2021, and the culverts upstream from there washed out. There was quite a bit of debris left over in the stream that we thought might clear itself out and didn't really. So we kind of cleared that out so that water could flow mostly under the bridge, and then replace the culvert that had been washed out twice already with a larger culvert. So adjusting there to, you know, future climate risks. That's done. I have a photo of that one I can show you. And then the Headwaters Boardwalk was another project that we were going to complete this year. But as it turns out, even though the boardwalk was quite, was doing this a little bit, it seemed to be in pretty good shape when we got there. And we thought we could get another 5 years out of it at least, maybe 10 years out of one part of it. So we're going to hold off on that one. And then we just got a couple repairs done on the boardwalk for now that have kind of evened it out. So we just kind of cut one of the footings down. I think they just heaved maybe in the frost. So that's been fixed for now. And then currently we're working on the golf course bridges. So the golf course loop is closed. It's Maggie's Walk as well, but I know people recognize it more if you say golf course loop. So we started demolition of those last week. And I was going to show you a picture of that. I guess it's not super exciting. But these were, so this is the culvert from Buchanan Road, just because. And this is one of the bridges here, the upper bridge, kind of by the 8th pole, just above the 8th or 7th, above the 7th. And this has been quite crazy to dismantled, but they've got the tarp here lining the creek, and so staff has already dismantled this entire bridge. It's quite a bit of work. It's a lot of big timbers, and already we've had one of the stringers, the wood stringers and wood footings have almost completely rotted away, and one of the stringers had fallen down into the creek. So we are happy to be getting these replaced because I think they were verging on pretty unsafe. So they're dismantling the other bridge this week, and then we have ordered aluminum bridges to replace them with, which I'm pretty excited about. It's not something we've installed in any of our other parks, but they're like aluminum gangways like you use in a dock. They are will be easier to install than just doing the steel stringers. They'll be a lot more durable and ensure that we don't need to replace these every 20 years or so, other than the decking. So yeah, and they're fairly inexpensive. I think we saved a bit of money over just building them by hand with the steel stringers. So that's it for my update.
Hey, thank you very much, Carla. Any questions for Carla on that? Okay, thank you. And lastly, is Sue Ellen's going to give us a verbal update on councils, committees, and the Islands Trust.
Yeah, thank you, Claudia. I'm just a few quick things. One of them is Islands Trust Council is still in the process of updating the trust policy statement, which is how do we preserve and protect the unique amenities of the islands and the environment, sort of the rural character and the ecology, in a set of guidelines or directive policies that every official community plan on each of the islands would need to fall under, whether it's Galiana or Bowen or any of the islands. And so that is partway through being updated. There's the tension on in the communities of the islands and on Trust Council about should there be less regulation or more regulation? Should there be limits to growth, or should there be only managing growth? These kinds of discussions are happening. The last Trust Council meeting, I'm sorry to say, last month in Nanaimo was a fractious one. And so I'm not sure that there's more to tell you, except that these things are ongoing, and stay tuned. And if anybody's got connections on other islands, you may want to touch base with them and see what's happening, or let me know if you've got questions. I'm not sure it'll be updated in time for Bowen's official community plan update, which is happening now. So I think our Bowen official community plan, they've just hired a consultant, and so the time to make input to the official community plan is coming. And anybody who's been writing letters to council or got ideas you've got down beside your desk and you're thinking, I've got to let somebody know about this thing that's concerning me, or this idea I've got, hang on to it, and soon the window will open for public input on the official community plan. Biodiversity planning for Bowen Island is going on through the municipality. Now has a now has a memorandum of understanding with the Bowen Island Conservancy. So there are new maps coming. I don't know if you can see that, but anyway, Carla and I are both part of the steering committee, I think it's called. And so just so you get a sense, it's not going to show up for anyway. There's a open house coming on November the 16th on Bowen. It'll be called Caring for Nature, and you can come and have a look at the maps and see what's going on, and at that open house. And then I wanted to introduce this book also that you can't see. I don't know. I never used to do this blurring. Okay, it's called Voices for the Islands. Look at that. I'm trying to get it to show up. Anyway, this is about 30 years of nature conservation in the Salish Sea. I got this from Indigo at Park Royal, and there's a whole chapter on Bowen Island. I had the pleasure of taking the author Sheila Harrington around last summer. And so there'll be a book launch for this at the library too, coming up. I think it's also in November, earlier in November, November 2nd or something. I wanted to mention council meeting today. There was another referral that will be coming to this committee for another long skinny property that wants to subdivide down the middle and sell one of the properties. So that'll be coming. And today we passed, no, we didn't pass. We gave second and third reading, almost final reading, to some changes at public wharves in terms of fees for tying up at public wharves and who gets to use the public wharves. For those of you who might have been wondering about Mount Gardner dock and things like that, whose boats are those? So there's now new policy around that, and the bylaws are being updated in the fees. And that's all I can think of to tell you today. Council took a break in August, but there's been a lot going on. We've got a new CAO. So Liam Edwards has gone, and now we've got Kern. Oops, I've just forgotten his last name. Anyway, we've got a new Chief Administrative Officer who's just joined us in September, and we are excited. People have moved around a little bit in the spaces, as you'll see. Sarah's with us at the meetings, and there's some changes in terms of what staff is doing, and so good things are happening. Are there any questions? Kern Dillon, of course. Thank you, Carla or Sarah. Yes.
Thank you, Sue Ellen.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right, looks like there are no questions. So after that, it's information items. And our next meeting is November 19th, Tuesday at 7. There's no one here for a question period. So we may adjourn. We don't have to, what we usually say, who wants to move that we adjourn, and a seconder, and why would we do that? I think we can just say good night, everyone. Thank you all for coming out tonight and being present for us, and have a great rest of your week.
We just need to mention that our
Thank
next
you.
meeting is Tuesday, November 19th at 7:00 p.m.
Yes, I did mention it, but maybe so fast.
I didn't even hear. Let me make sure. We're going for quorum next time.
All right, yes.
Thanks,
Okay,
Claudia.
thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Carla. Thanks, Sarah. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.